Psych 227 Study Session 4 Motives for Deception. Introduction. The focus of this lecture is the three main motives for deception. Learning outcomes. At the end of this lecture, students are expected to understand motives for deception and be able to differentiate and discuss the three main motives for deception. Motives for deception. 1. Self-focused motives. As the name implies, this is when people use deception to boost their self-image or self-esteem and avoid disapproval from others. Here, the deceiver is selfishly motivated to deceive the receiver. Self-focused deception is an antisocial behavior and an act of transgression which can be very offensive, breed mistrust and suspicion. For example, someone who claims and takes the glory of a task accomplished by someone else deceives the receiver to boost his or her self-worth. Partner-focused motives. Again, as the name suggests, deception is employed to protect the other person. The deceiver's motivation for deception is to preserve or enhance the receiver's self-esteem or self-respect and to prevent the person from being troubled. Since partner-motivated deception is a form of prosocial behavior, it is viewed as socially acceptable and puts the deceiver in a positive light when the deception is detected. For instance, a man or woman might claim to enjoy a meal that is badly prepared by his or her spouse, which is not the case. In such instance, deception is done to preserve the spouse's self-esteem. Relationship-focused motives. Here, deception is used to avoid disagreement or conflict and protect the relationship between the deceiver and the deceived. The motivation behind the deception is the interest of the relationship. Relationship-focused deception is usually with good intentions, but can sometimes backfire and destroy the relationship one sets out to preserve. For example, a third party who deceives two conflicting parties by downplaying the extent of anger and resentment of the conflicting parties for each other is engaged in relationship-focused deception. The deception is thus focused on the relationship between the conflicting parties by getting the conflict reduced or resolved and protect the relationship from jeopardy. Study session summary. In this study session, we discuss three main motives of deception. 1. Self-focused motives. This is when people use deception to boost their self-image or self-esteem and avoid disapproval from others. Secondly, the partner-focused motives is when deception is employed to protect the other person. The deceiver's motivation for deception is to preserve or enhance the receiver's self-esteem or self-respect and to prevent the person from being troubled. And lastly, the relationship-focused motives. Here, deception is used to avoid disagreement or conflicts and protect the relationship between the deceiver and the deceived. The motivation behind the deception is in the interest of the relationship. End of study session 4. Thank you for listening.